Hi, I'm Greg with Lens Pro To Go, and today I'm here with some things to know about the new Red Raven. This is one of Red's newest cameras, being released alongside the Scarlett W and keeping true to Red's iconic body style with a tough exterior construction. The Raven is the entry-level offering of the DSMC2 cameras. With functional configurations in the $10,000 to $12,000 range, renting a Red has never been more in reach. Despite the camera's price, you're still getting the performance of the Dragon sensor and some pretty sweet features. Let's take a look at what you get. Right off the bat, the most impressive feature of the Raven is that it can record 4.5K RAW at up to 120 frames per second internally while using the Red Mini Mags. You are limited to using the Red code option for that frame rate, but you do also have the option to record ProRes 422 HQ on its own or simultaneously with the 4K RAW. With the ProRes, it's only capable of recording 60 frames per second in 2K. Red has always been pushing frame rate boundaries for cameras that aren't specifically designed for high-speed footage. The Raven continues that tradition while managing to be more affordable. You can get up to 120 frames per second in 4.5K, as I've already mentioned, but if you drop to 2K, you'll be able to get up to 240 frames per second. In my tests, both the 120 and 240 frames per second footage looks really good, and I didn't have any problems with artifacting or moire when using the higher frame rates. We feel that this is going to be the biggest draw of this camera. Sure, there are other cameras out there with the same frame rate, but many are hampered by buffering record limits and write times. Shooting high frame rates on the Raven is a no-fuss affair. Red has always been a leader in offering wide dynamic range footage, and the Raven is no different, with a claimed 16.5 stops, being able to hold detail in some of the most challenging shooting environments. It also has the HDRX shooting mode, which will capture 2 frames simultaneously and produce a pretty impressive HDR video. If you have ever used a Red camera before, then you'll have no problem adapting to the Raven. It's so similar in every way. If you haven't had the chance to get your hands on a Red before, there is a slight learning curve, but the main interface is very intuitive. First thing you'll notice is that there's no cables, which helps keep the packaging streamlined. This makes the Raven ideal for gimbal use. One concession you do have to make with the Raven is the crop on the Dragon sensor. It's not all bad because you'll be able to get some extra reach out of your longer lenses, but going wide can be a bit more tricky. There are some good third-party options like the Tokina 11-16, which works out to be roughly an 18 to 26mm. With the Raven, you'll find all of the useful tools like focus peaking or false color, and you can even assign them to custom buttons for fast access on set. As with any camera out there, none of them are perfect, and this one comes with some of those quirks too. These aren't big problems, but something you should know going into it. While the Raven's crop sensor can be worked around with different focal length lenses, one thing you can't combat is the loss of depth of field effect. Compound this by the changing crops for different resolutions, and you'll need to be sure you've got your lens selection down. While we're on the subject of sensor specs, its smaller size and base ISO of 800 mean it's not an ideal camera for low light situations, compared to cameras like the A7S II. I'd feel comfortable going up to like 3200, maybe 4000, but not much more. On the flip side, shooting in bright areas can also be tricky, because the Raven has no built-in NDs, which means you need some screw-ons or a matte box setup. As Reds go, and especially with what they're capable of, the battery life and hard drive space are a big factor. You can get about an hour and 20 minutes on one 90-watt battery and about 14 minutes of recording on a 120GB card. The Raven does include a small built-in mic for scratch tracks and an 1/8 inch for adding a small mic like the Rode VideoMic Pro. This isn't a complete solution though, as the preamps aren't that good, but it works in a pinch. For the most part, if you need audio, you'll be running another sound recorder anyways. One thing that is both a perk and a quirk is that since the monitor doesn't have any cords, it has to connect through the pins on the bottom of the mount. This cuts down on the clutter for sure, but reduces the flexibility of the monitor. You can't twist the monitor for different viewing angles, only up and down. So if you're trying to go with a shoulder mount, you need to get an eyepiece or monitor to use. Last thing is this little tiny handle feels really good, but it's one finger short, and this makes it a pain to carry for a long time, especially if you have it built out with accessories. Even though there is a healthy list of minor annoyances, I do think the Raven's strengths far outweigh the negatives. Granted, these are buoyed by the price point, image quality, resolution, and frame rate options. We think this camera will appeal to many more shooters than previous Red offerings. It will be ideal for commercial or scripted production shooters who want the flexibility of RAW. If you're interested in trying out the Raven, head on over to lensprotogo.com, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. See you next time.